Hey guys, Tarke here, and today's SSF update is going to be more of a housekeeping and asking you questions episode. If you want gameplay, I've uploaded boss footage of me going blind into both the Black Star and the Infinite Hunger earlier on today. Highly worth watching them, even if just to laugh at me, because I found those fights very frustrating. I might touch on that a little bit later on. But first off, let's do the gear check. I've upgraded my chest piece. This is my old chest. We've now got this bad boy with spell suppression, much better evasion, better life, and it's got a open suffix for a craft. I just haven't worked out what I want to put on it yet. I haven't unlocked anything good from Betrayal. And we managed to get +1 maximum fire res. Maximum fire res seems to get, or maximum any res seems to be pretty easy to get hold of. I think I also had it somewhere else as well. But yeah, really liking this new influence system. And then some housekeeping. So the projectile speed mastery, increased reduction in projectile speed also applies to damage with bows. I should have known, this is my fault, I should have known this didn't work. Path of Building thinks it does. The wording isn't correct for this to work with damage over time or ailments. Path of Building is calculating this as a damage increase. Ignore it, it doesn't work, the wording is wrong, that was my mistake, I should have noticed that sooner. So yes, do not run projectile speed scaling to improve your damage, because it doesn't. It will only work for the hit base. So we've then swapped onto this quiver. In terms of the mana leech, since mana leech was a bit of a problem point in the last one, I ended up for 1 point just taking this. For 1 point, it kind of solves everything. Now we're really just trying to get our spell suppression to 100%. We are at 82, which is pretty close. Yeah, I need to just get it on one more piece of gear or take the mastery here for an extra 10% chance. My thing is blocking it, sorry. And then spend a couple more skill points. Saying that though, I'm hitting a bit of a frustration wall. If we jump over to the confusing tab, this is such an SSF problem. This is like an unreal SSF problem. So in the last video, I talked about how I got the Azeneth's Chant, and that completely threw me for a loop because I've been wanting to play an Azeneth's Chant build for a couple of years after I made a really fun Azeneth's Chant build a very long time ago. And then I got one and I got very confused. Then we got the Carcass Jack. Then we got the Witchfire Brew. I got a +1 Chaos Skill Gem amulet. Not the best one, but it's got tier 1 life regen, which is actually pretty decent. A little bit of energy shield, which I would go Ghost Dance on that build, and it's got an open prefix for crafted life. Yeah, it would be pretty good. It's also on a strength base, which you would want. I got the Polaric Devastation. This is the Cover and Ash ring from the Black Star. Really nice ring, actually. Frost is being covered in frost applies 50% less critical strike chance and 20% increased cold damage. That's only for stuff you've frozen though, which is a little bit iffy. I would have preferred a lot more if it was chill. But for the most part, you could have this up pretty much all the time. Except for some bosses you might struggle to freeze. Like, for example, Ice Trap was a build I played quite recently. With Ice Trap, you can very, very readily freeze all the map bosses. I think with the new, like, big spooky bosses, you might struggle to freeze those. But yeah, 50% less crit chance and 20% cold damage taken is very powerful. However, the Ash, super easy to apply to everything. That's a 20% slow and 20% increased damage. One of the builds I was considering this league as one of the potential league starts was Ignite Fire Trap. We got a +1 Fire Skill Gems amulet with increased fire damage, a little bit of all res, and again, open prefix. And then I got a 2120 Wave of Conviction. Ignite Wave of Conviction was something I was recommending to Rise on the Bay class, the build Bay class right for the league. It was a build I looked into a lot last league. So Ignite Wave of Conviction is actually like pretty solid. The thing which is neat with Wave of Conviction Ignite is it's got very good effectiveness of added damage, and one of the annoying nodes to activate in Elementalist, which is very powerful, is the exposure node. If your Wave of Conviction Ignite, then it's always active because your Wave of Conviction always activates it. And you could do Ignite Wave of Conviction with a Burning Ground Fire Trap. But anyway, so I'm kind of being pulled a bit in that direction. I'm being pulled a bit in that direction. And while I'm getting nice upgrades on this character, they're all like in the armor slots. They're not in like the bow or the quiver. I threw a lot of fusing into that chest. You can see I've pretty much emptied myself, and we couldn't even get a second 5-link. Being on a 4-link clear setup is really slowing me. We did finally get our Uber Lab, where we picked up the +2 arrows. Can report the build does feel smooth, the +2 arrows, especially from the single target point of view. Feels really great. The puncture feels really, really good. But I'm not gonna lie, I am running into some problem points with density, which I don't know how to solve it. In SSF, in Trade League, you just go hemophilia. I wasn't expecting to be struggling so much with links. I didn't think I would still be on a 4-link, because I was supposed to get to a double 5-link quite quickly, but I've been pretty unlucky on that front. And it's a problem because I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to run like content. My Atlas is still pretty empty. The highest thing we've run is a tier 15 and some tier 14 uniques. We're just filling in a lot of like the missing yellows. I've got like a big part of the inventory to knock out. But yeah, we've been doing a lot of like 11s and 12s. And just like trying to build up a base of 10s, seeing new bosses, whatever. But like I'm starting to get to a point now where like I'll do like a really juiced breach, and I'm like, there are too many monsters. I can't handle this. And that's kind of bad for an obvious reason, because usually what you want to do is you want to add as many monsters as possible. And now when I see too many monsters at once, I'm like, my build can't handle this. And one thing which I found very disheartening was when I was doing the 2 new bosses. I didn't find them intuitive at all, by the way, but that's a separate topic. But then when I posted them onto the YouTube, was kind of like, hey, like, how did you guys work it out? The one boss that I really struggled with, because I had no idea what was going on, the Infinite Hunger, there were multiple people in the comments saying I didn't even know he had that ability because I just phased him. And I was like, wait. So I just went through all of that rubbish. I had to go through all of these like annoying phases that make 0 sense. And meanwhile, you just like threw a seismic trap and the boss went bye-bye. And you didn't even see the mechanic. And it's like, oh. So I am really struggling to resist the reroll. I'm really, really struggling to resist the reroll. How would you guys feel about that? How would you feel about me re-rolling into an Azanus Chant build? Or potentially trying to use this stuff in some sort of Azanus Chant setup. I could use the Polaric Devastation. That could be used in here very easily. These I might struggle with a little bit. There are kind of like 2 main ways I see the Azanus Chant going. So either I try and remake my Corsica Soul Run build from several leagues ago. The main thing with that is I'm not entirely sure how to handle the mana cost of Azanus Chant now. Azanus Chant is quite interesting from that point of view. So every time you attack with a 0.3 second cooldown, you're paying the full mana cost of everything you have in there. So some people are even saying like, oh, why didn't you run like a 4-link Exsanguinate in this build to help boost your clear up a little bit? This build doesn't have the sustain to handle that every 0.3 seconds, chunking my health with Exsanguinate. I just don't have the sustain for it, unfortunately. If I knew that I was going to have this in mind, then I never would have gone for this Deadeye setup. I would have gone with the Gladiator, because Gladiator's got really nice sustain from the Warcry nodes and such. Or I'd have gone for a True, which can fit in more natural regen. But for this setup, I just can't really think of a good way of doing it. With the life tap and likewise for the mana, it doesn't really work. If you had a lot of minus mana cost stuff, potentially, but we don't have access to that right now. But even going into like the Corsica setup, I'm thinking a little bit about the mana. I'm trying to like... I was thinking you can maybe use Trickster. Trickster's got that 1 node which gives you a 30% chance to regain 10% of your mana whenever you use a skill. Maybe perhaps you leave a little bit of mana unreserved. And maybe that's one way of going about it. You could afford to life tap on that build. I could definitely afford to run a life tap Essence Drain. So Essence Drain gives you really nice life regen. So I could run like a 4-link Essence Drain in the Helm with life tap as part of those links. And Essence Drain and Corsica both scale with Global Pierce. So you then have a situation of just like you fire once and you shoot out like a double chaos dot. Good natural synergy. The essence rain is just giving you extra damage over time, and it's feeding you a constant health regen. That's a safe way of doing it, but really the soul rend, that's like the juice. The soul rend feels so pretty when you get it in there. But the mana cost feels less pretty. So, you know, that's the other thing as well. It's why I've been kind of hesitant to just like re-rolling onto it instantly, is I don't entirely know how exactly I would go about it. I really like Occultist for Corsa carry these days. Whenever I go to make a Corsa carry build, I need to always go Occultist. It just does so much more damage than the other options. It also has really good synergy with Death's Aura. I'm not sure how I'd get the mana sustain on that. I was thinking maybe I could try and come up with a weird tree which leverages a lot of recoup, and maybe you're using like recoup as part of the way that you're sustaining from the life taps shenanigans, but even there, I'm not entirely sure. Another direction I could go in though is in Hobby League, we're going back a long time now, I played a Quill Rain build, which was all about attack speed. It was a Slayer stacking Abyssal Jewels. And that build is sort of making a comeback. Like, it can make a comeback. So with Quill Rain gives you a lot of projectile speed, and you could actually use that projectile speed mastery. It would actually work for this build. And a max roll Quill Rain has 100% increased damage on it, which kind of offsets that 30% less. You then have an insane attack speed bow, and then you use the Slayer crit node, so then you end up with a crazy attack speed with a very high base crit. And I was planning on having Abyss as part of my Atlas strategy anyway, farming those like big tasty jewels. And you could then do a Aznath setup in the Helm, with life tap as the one link, and then you put in 3 utility spells, and the Slayer Leech would sustain it no problem, zero issue. Skills you could put in there, you could put in like tornadoes, you could put in flame walls. The one thing I worried a little bit with tornado is if you're attacking so quickly with the tornado, would the tornado just like never get to ramp up? Like how does that even function? Is tornado a green gem? Yeah, it is. I don't have many chromatics, but let's just throw something in there. And you'll see how quickly we'll oom on this. We can just get 8 green. There we go, perfect. And may as well shove an Exanguinate in there as well, so you can see it. This will be a low level one, so it won't do the full juice, but and let's just go like that. So how does the tornado sort of, does it have like a cooldown or anything? It has a slight cooldown, 0.3 seconds. Maybe do something cool with that, but you can kind of picture it like you do like tornado, maybe hydrosphere, or like a flame wall. Flame will be really good for getting the projectile bonus fire damage. Then like a curse or a wave of conviction for applying exposure. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure there. But yeah, you've got a solid 3-link option. And with the light up and so you'd have absolutely zero issues. And that seems pretty cool. It would make use of a lot of the new things about the patch. Also, Quill Rain with the blink arrow cooldown. Oh my. I think, like, whatever with this build, my favorite thing about it has been the super low cooldown blink arrow. And all this is just the mastery, nothing else. And I don't even have, like, quality and stuff on it. Can you imagine how good this would feel with quality or, like... Oh, they took the cooldown off there. Sorry. Fleetfoot. Ooh, that could feel so good. Or, like, a Helm enchant. I've also been thinking just an actual blink arrow, mirror arrow build would be really good. Although that's a very gear-dependent build. You need a bow with a lot of flat LE damage to pull that off. But that's always actually been a really solid build. It's just very, very gear heavy. But I feel stretched thin like butter on too much toast or whatever it was that Bilbo said. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit disillusioned. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you, what do you want to see from me? Because at the end of the day, you know, I do this for you. You are the people. I am the person pulling his hair out, and I will listen to you. Oh, I reserve the right to ignore you, but I will heed your advice. I just may not follow it. While doing that, though, I will continue to just keep mapping, keep progressing. It's one thing I always preach. If you ever league start a build and you're kind of in the like, oh, I don't really know, is it coming online phase, keep playing until you're 100% settled. It's much better that you just play while you and ah than you just stare at path building and don't play for like 2 days. Because while I've been playing, that's how I've been getting all this crazy gear. And if I just kind of gone, I'm not really sure about this build, and just like leveling a new character, then I wouldn't have all this cool stuff to mess around with. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how your league start is going. If you're playing along with this build, you know, it's been a funny one. I think a lot of it just goes to show the amount of difference a good Fizzbow and the Ungle's Harmony makes, because I've seen quite a few people being like, the boss damage has been absolutely amazing, I'm destroying everything, super smooth, Tarke, thank you, love the build. And I've seen another quite large group of people being like, oh my god, the map clear, like, I'm thinking about re-rolling, like, Tarke, like, Tarke, like, yo, what is this build? Like, you debated me hard. So, sorry about that. But then at the same time, some people are having a lot of success. And, you know, I've been able to do the content, I'm just not doing it particularly fast. So, you know, it's the SSF way, it's the SSF way. Anyway, let me know what you think. Give me some guidance. I am a lost, whatever a lost thing is. And yeah, watch my boss kill footage and laugh at me. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.